These naturalists suppose that the celestial bodies, so the sun and the moon and so forth, and their operations are to be understood according to the same principles as terrestrial phenomena here on Earth, and that they're to be explained by invoking earth, air, fire, and water, and their interactions. Everything on Earth and in the heavens, on this view, can be accounted for in terms of the periodic table of earth, air, fire, and water. Now, this second feature sets the naturalist accounts in stark opposition to popular religious traditions that identify the celestial bodies as gods. In fact, we'll see later when we're reading Plato's Apology of Socrates that you could back up the charge that someone is an atheist by saying, he says that the sun is a stone and the moon is earth. Now, given these two characteristic features of the naturalist philosophy, one of the ways in which we might say that the Milesians were scientific is that they give natural explanations as opposed to supernatural explanations. Now, many people today suppose that if you reject supernatural explanations, you're invoking a godless world. For example, many contemporary skeptics about evolution in biology are motivated by the thought that if we can explain the evolution of life on Earth in purely material and mechanical terms, then there's no place for God in the universe. But the Milesians do not agree. For all their insistence on a material principle for everything, these thinkers are not at all eager to banish reference to gods from their philosophy. Thales, for example, even though he claims that water is the ultimate principle of all things, also claims that, and I quote, all things are full of gods. What does that mean? Is he identifying that inner material principle, water, with God? This is in fact precisely what Anaximenes does with his material principle. Recall that he identifies air as the ultimate principle of the universe. And Cicero later reports to us that, quote, Anaximenes determined that air is a god. We find the same pattern in Anaximander. His ultimate principle, the indefinite, or apeiron, is divine. It steers all things, and it is deathless and indestructible. All of these traditional attributes of divinity. It seems then that even though the Milesians believed in natural rather than supernatural explanations, they did not think that they lived in a world without gods. Rather, once they had identified what they took to be the ultimate principle of the universe, they identified this principle with God. To be sure, this is a radically revisionary conception of God. But one of the enduring themes in Greek philosophy, which we will be tracing in this course, is a critique of traditional conceptions of God. Such a critique is a prominent theme in Xenophanes, another thinker in the Milesian tradition. He too proposed to replace supernatural explanations of natural phenomena with wholly natural ones. For example, the electrical phenomenon that has come to be called St. Elmo's fire, now there's a name that implies a supernatural explanation. Xenophanes insists that it can be explained in wholly material terms. He says, the things on boats which shine like stars, which some call the Dioscuri, are little clouds which shine as a result of the motion. So the Dioscuri are Castor and Pollux, the divine twins of Greek mythology. But more to the point, Xenophanes insists that the traditional conceptions of the gods are radically mistaken. He singles out for criticism the anthropomorphic picture of the gods that one finds in popular literature. He satirizes this view as a projection from our own limited perspective. He says, Ethiopians say that their gods are flat-nosed and dark. Thracians, that theirs are blue-eyed and red-haired. So, he proposes, if oxen and horses and lions were able to draw with their hands and to do the same things as men, Horses would draw the shapes of gods to look like horses, and oxen to look like oxen. Xenophanes' point is that we should be skeptical of any anthropomorphic conception of God. And if we abandon this anthropomorphic conception, then we have removed the barrier, or at least lowered it, to accepting the revisionist theology of Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes. The theology that says God is the ultimate principle of the universe.